Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing an honest review of Monster High, the movie. So the movie has been out for about 2 weeks now, and I've watched it about 4 times now, and I feel like I have finally had enough time to process the movie and gather my thoughts on certain topics of the movie. So I will be discussing the goods and the bads of the movie. So we're gonna jump straight in here. So the movie opens up and we are introduced to Claudine Wolf, who is half human and half monster. And she gets confronted by human characters that basically chase her off. And this kind of sets up the scene that Claudine doesn't feel like she belongs in the human world. And then Claudine basically tells her father that she wants to go to Monster High, which she has just found out she has been accepted to, but they don't know that she is half human because Monster High at this time does not accept human or half human students. Anyway, we get into Claudine's dad accepting, and then that's when we get our first song, which is Coming Out of the Dark, which I think is one of the best off the album. And this song is also the introduction to a lot of our major characters in the plot. So first off, we are introduced to Draculaura, who is the daughter of Dracula. And I gotta say, Draculaura looks so good. The makeup, the hair, the outfit are so on point for the character. I absolutely love her look. Now we find out that Draculaura is basically like really trying to be the poster child for her father, which I think a lot of kids can definitely relate to. And then later on in the movie, we discover that Draculaura actually is practicing witchcraft, which is a no-no because witchcraft is a human practice. And especially her dad is really against witchcraft because vampires and witches are like sworn enemies. And then we are introduced to Frankie Stein, who is my fave of Monster High and especially Monster High, the movie. I thought they were incredible. They were so funny, so relatable, so endearing, so naive, and they do go by they, them pronouns in this Monster High universe, which is absolutely amazing. The actor who plays them, Cece Balagot, is trans, and they do go by he, they pronouns. So I'm really glad they casted someone who was actually part of the LGBTQ community and who is also trans and non-binary. But yeah, we're introduced to Frankie Stein, who is made of multiple body parts, especially by people who have done like major things. So this Frankie Stein isn't that far from the Frankie Stein that we knew from Generation 1 because they start out as 15 days old. They're brand new to the monster world. They had just been created. This is their first time at Monster High. They want to fit in. They want to find some friends. They want to find some family. So I think Frankie is at Monster High to really learn how to socialize and make friends. We are then introduced to Cleo Denial, who is the queen bee of Monster High. Now, I absolutely loved the actress that played Cleo. They are also authentically Egyptian, which is very important for the character because they are a mummy princess. She plays the perfect mean girl while still being like relatable and likable. Like, I think Cleo is definitely second best for me along with Frankie in this movie. She absolutely slayed it. And then we are introduced to Laguna, who in this version is best friends with Cleo Denial. She is from South America now with a Colombian accent, and she has tan skin instead of blue skin, but she does still have her like, you know, fish features, and she has like a piranha bite, which I wish they would have shown more of. They really only showed it in this one part. My only thing with Laguna this movie is that she really is like a side character. There really is no like plot to her. There's no real character development. And that also goes for Abby and Heath in this movie. And I mean, I understand that because this movie has so many characters already that you really want to focus on just a few of the like key point characters that really move the story along. And I think they did a good job of choosing which characters to focus more on and characters to put more as like side characters. calls, and Laguna brings up that she just saw Deuce Gorgon, and Cleo lets her know that they broke up over the summer because Cleo and Deuce are like the #1 it couple at Monster High, and they were like that from Generation 1. And we quickly learn that Cleo is not over Deuce, and she will make that very obvious throughout the movie that she isn't over Deuce, and she is very jealous of anyone who shows interest to Deuce or anyone that Deuce shows interest to. And then next we are introduced to Deuce Gorgon. We learn that Deuce previously was known as the bad boy of Monster High, and this year he wants to start new and fresh and be a better person. Now, that's really all we get on Deuce's background. We really don't learn much about him, and this has nothing to do with the actor at all. The actor was great. I think he was really great for the role of Deuce, and his singing voice is like so good, but they really don't do much with Deuce. Like, they basically introduce him, and that's pretty much it. He's really just there to kind of move along this storyline that him and Claudine might have something going on. Like, he pretty much starts the movie the same way he ends the movie, if that makes sense. The writing, I guess, for the character, they definitely could have focused more on Deuce's background and characteristics and stuff like that. And then after the song, everyone is settling into the school, and we are introduced to Gulia Yelps. And in this generation, Gulia actually like speaks English, which really threw me off at first. But after watching it a few times, like, I'm kind of just used to it now, and I actually find Gulia really funny in this movie. I feel like she, along with Frankie, is kind of like our comedic relief of the movie. Every scene she has dialogue, she's like so funny. And just like, you know, the other very minor characters in the story, there really is no plot or backstory to Gulia. She kind of is just there. Now, this is in my notes, and I had to bring this up, but there are a few times in the movie that Claudine will turn human because she is basically, you know, not being herself and is just really nervous and, you know, hiding her true self. And when they do this, the CGI from like monster to human is so bad. Now, like, I understand this because this is a made-for-TV movie that's also made for kids, and kids, you know, when they're younger, they're not gonna really notice or care that the CGI is like bad. But now we're gonna kind of fast forward through a little bit here. So there is a scene, I believe it's the first day of school for the monsters, where we're introduced again to Mr. Komos, who is the creature teacher. He basically introduces the class to the subject that humans are the ultimate enemy to monster kind. And he talks about the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, who is a half human, half monster. And we learn that it is rumored that he discovered a way to become fully monster, and there was a secret lab somewhere on the school grounds of Monster High, and this really intrigues Claudine. And so she basically spends the movie looking for this secret lab that might have this secret to how to become full-on monster. And so this is when we start getting into the graveyard scene, and then Mr. Komos enters the picture, and we realize that Mr. Komos was behind this whole scheme all along. Mr. Komos is not who he said he was, and he is in fact half human, just like Claudine. He wanted the secret antidote for himself to become full monster, because he wants to become full monster to destroy Monster High, and he takes the antidote from Claudine and drinks it and becomes this like super monster, which is really cool in concept. Like, the makeup and prosthetics he has is really cool, but they forgot to do his lower body. Like, he definitely skipped leg day at the gym. And then we find out that Komos, being a super monster now, is able to steal the powers of monsters. So this leads to a final battle between Mr. Komos and the students of Monster High, who end up destroying Komos by turning him to stone using the Gorgon powers that he had stolen from Deuce earlier in the battle. And so the movie ends with everyone knowing that Claudine is in fact half human, half monster, but Head Mistress Bloodgood decides to let Claudine stay at Monster High because they have a true monster heart, and they are at no threat to anyone at the school. And the movie kind of ends with a focus on Draculaura, because there is a post-credit scene with this witch with like really long nails over their crystal ball, focusing on Draculaura and pointing out that they are going to be the key to destroying the vampires. So I'm hoping this means that Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus is already planning for another live action Monster High movie. So I'm assuming the next movie, if we get one, will focus primarily on Draculaura, which I think would be really cool to have each movie focus on a different ghoul, and the third movie can focus on Frankie Stein, which I would love. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Monster High, the movie. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good, and I was really invested in it. Go give this movie a chance. It's on Paramount Plus right now, and it is also showing on Nickelodeon. So check your TV guide to see when it is on the air. I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new here. You can also find me on all the social medias like Instagram and TikTok at Fantastic Plastic for even more doll content. Until next time, everyone, keep collecting, and I'll see you soon.